we had that space that he's all about trying to go ahead and make Chicago into this super sanctuary city. He's trying to give all kind of perks to illegal migrants there in the state of Illinois and more the actual city of Chicago. So we got to go ahead and touch up on that. But real quick, let me go ahead up in the jumbotron. Those articles up there. The first article I want to touch up on is Chicago elects Brandon Johnson as new mayor. This was published by Black Enterprise, curated on the Newstoter.com platform. If you guys have not been to Newstoter.com, make sure that you visit Newstoter.com daily. Everybody in the space that's follow a Newstoter, y'all go ahead and check out the actual content on there. Brandon Johnson was elected Chicago mayor on Tuesday, according to the Associated Press, defeating Paul Vallas in a runoff between two Democrats to take over a city grappling with crime and the issue that dominated the race. Johnson, a 47-year-old Cook County commissioner, becomes the 57th mayor of the third largest U.S. city after incumbent Lori Lightfoot was eliminated from the race in February. Vallas spoke to supporters shortly before 10 p.m., and she said she had spoken to Johnson, who he expected to carry the day. I'm optimistic that better, brighter days are on the horizon, Vallas said. Vallas and Johnson squared off in the runoff election after Lightfoot, also a Democrat, finished third out of 9 candidates in the previous round when no one managed to cross the 50% line. The nonpartisan race in the heavily left-leaning city was a test for the Democratic messaging on policing in the U.S. 3 years after the widespread protests following the police murder of George Floyd. Republicans sought to bludgeon Democrats over the issue in the 2022 midterm elections. Wallace called for more police officers, while Johnson suggested more mental health support and opportunities for young people. Johnson will inherit a city in which the number of murders since 2018 has increased by 20%. In 2021, there were 804 murders, the most in a quarter century. Car thefts have doubled, and other types of theft have risen by a quarter over the last 5 years. Lightfoot, the first Black woman and first openly gay person to serve as the city's mayor, had been bidding for a second 4-year term, but her handling of crime and a series of crises, including the COVID-19 pandemic, racial justice protests, and a teacher strike, sapped her support. Johnson, a former Chicago teacher and union organizer, says he will promote 20 new detectives from the existing pool of police officers. He also wants to strengthen the police accountability. One day, the winter will have a variety of other issues to address, including a struggling public school system, the city's fiscal woes, and the aftermath of COVID-19 pandemic that closed many businesses and offices. So, like I said, I got to also touch up on this because earlier, like I said, a few weeks ago, we had this space talking about Johnson, and just Johnson made no secret about what he's going to do in terms of, trying to strengthen a lot of the actual immigrant population up there, giving them rights and stuff like that. So I'm going to touch up on that in just a little bit too in this space as well too. I just want to go ahead and get these get the articles out there so we can have our talking points. Shout out to Rella, I see you up in the space. Rella Original, what's going on? Volvo, I see you up in the space as well too. So how y'all doing tonight? Let me go ahead and get the North Carolina A&T. This is from Atlanta Black Star. It's also up in the Jumbotron as well, too. North Carolina A&T students angry they weren't alerted about white man with multiple weapons, 1,000 rounds of ammunition on campus until more than a week later, he was so close. Students attending North Carolina A&T State University in Greensboro were surprised to learn that a man had been arrested on campus after being found with several firearms plus more than 1,000 rounds of ammunition on March 26. The Winston-Salem Journal reports that 27-year-old Brandon James Bentley was seen at approximately 4 a.m. driving erratically near Sullivan Street and Benbow Road in a 2004 Mustang. After Bentley, who was white, ran up to officers asking for help, as court documents described, they noticed several weapons in his vehicle on a historically Black college and university campus. Greensboro police later found 2 shotguns, a rifle, 2 handguns, a machete, a crossbow, a stun gun, a hatchet, choking devices, pepper spray, a blow dart gun, brass knuckles, and a sword in Bentley's vehicle. Bentley allegedly asked the officers for help, saying that there was a religious cult he found on social media was after him and he was terrified. Also found in the Mustang was a window breaker, a chicken foot, and holy water. An explosive device that turned out to be fireworks was also found in the vehicle. All of the items found were seized by the Greensboro Police Department, and a 27-year-old was arrested. However, students and employees did not receive an email advisory about potential threat until April 3rd. A junior at the college, Shelby Samuel, said she was upset there was no warning or alert sent out about the arrest, especially since hate crimes are an issue for the HBCU. Last year, the FBI investigated bond threats made against 57 HBCUs through emails, phone calls, direct messages, as well as anonymous posts on social media. Nothing was talked about, no alerts were sent. We have an alert system for these reasons, she said. Like, a part of me is like angered by it because, like, we're an HBCU campus, like hate crimes are a thing. So to think he was so close to his goal of coming on this campus and doing what he wanted to do to us and not knowing a thing about it. Another student freshman named Demiria Cockerham was also surprised that no alerts were sent to the students on campus. For real, y'all didn't want to say nothing to us. It's like we live here, we stay here. Like Cockerham said, my parents live an hour and some change away. If there wasn't no cops out there, he could have come to our door. I mean, our dorm with all of those weapons. And Lord knows what he could have done to us. Cockerham added that she understands that the HBCU may not have wanted to cause commotion, but that not notifying the students for so long was shocking. We have to sit at night and think, oh, we're going to have to get up and barricade our door with our beds. And we should not have to think like that, said Cockerham. Janisha Stevens also attends the university and says she was distressed to learn that no alert was sent about the threat. I don't think it was handled well, says Stevens. To hear about the torture mechanism tools is really scary. I don't know why he would have done that. Who is it for? Is it for somebody on this campus? I should know what's going on campus, especially something like this. For it to be kept from us, what is it? Is it an agenda or anything like that? Because I want to be able to protect myself if I see something like that or someone suspicious so I can report it instead of being completely clueless. North Carolina A&T State University released a statement after the news broke, noting that no alert was sent because the threat had been stopped by law enforcement. Because of quick and decisive action of law enforcement, a campus alert was not issued, as a suspect no longer was a threat to the campus safety, read the statement. Bentley was described in court documents as in a very dangerous mental state. He was released on a $100,000 secure bond and will next appear in court on April 25th. And so you see the kind of weaponry he had on him. He had his own little stockpile that he had up in his Mustang riding around. Let's also go ahead and touch up real quick, y'all. I want to touch up on what's going on in Tennessee with the actual with this factory that they're trying to build up there, the Ford EV factory. So once I go ahead and finish, anybody you guys want to touch up on any of the actual articles tonight, please go ahead and just raise your hand. We'll go ahead and get into it. I definitely want to hear your opinion on what's going on with these HBCUs getting the kind of death threats and bomb threats and everything else. It seems like they get annually now. And like I said, this dude, he had over 1,000 rounds of ammo. He had some of everything on him. He was strapped to the T. This is from Reason.com, curator Newstoter.com platform. It says Tennessee will use eminent domain to evict black farmers for Ford EV factory. That's also in the actual Jumbotron as well, too. One of the nation's largest automakers has some big construction projects in the pipeline, and the Tennessee state government isn't going to let anything stand in the way, even the private property rights of black farmers. In September 2021, Ford Motor Company announced a slate of new development projects, committing $11.4 billion toward expanding electric vehicle EV production. In addition to 2 EV battery factories in Kentucky, the auto giant would build a $5.6 billion mega campus in Western Tennessee named Blue Oval City, which would manufacture both electric trucks and batteries. Ford boasted that the project would be operational in 2025 and employ about 5,800 people. In return for picking Tennessee, state lawmakers overwhelmingly approved legislation that would grant Ford $884 million in state incentives. That includes a $500 million grant from the state's current budget surplus and $384 million for site preparation, including $200 million for road improvements and $138.2 million for infrastructure and demolition services. The bill also appropriated $745,100 to fund the Mega Site Authority of West Tennessee, an 11-person board with the power to execute contracts on behalf of the development. It can also take privately owned land via eminent domain in order to facilitate construction of the facility and supporting infrastructure. According to Tennessee Lookout, the state is planning to seize privately owned farmland while only paying a small amount to the owners, far from the actual market value price. In order to reach the new facility, the North Carolina Department of Transportation plans to build a highway interchange plus a road leading from the interstate to Blue Oval City. But the path that the state chose for the road cuts through an area of farmland whose residents are disproportionately black. Of the 35 total tracts of land affected, the state still needs 20. It has filed 7 lawsuits so far. For example, the state sued Ray Jones for an acre of his land. But while land in this area sells for $200,000 or more per acre, the state offered Jones a measly $8,165. It also sued Marvin Sandler for 10 acres of his property, 2 acres that would be used to build a road, and 8 that would become inaccessible once it was built. Sandler was only offered $37,500 or $3,750 per acre. Speaking to the Tennessee Lookout, Anita Wadahani Sanderlin called the offer a ripoff, saying you can't buy a swamp here for $3,500. Ironically, Jones and Sanderlin both support the plan and are optimistic that it will bring additional commerce to the area, but they are less than enthused that the state feels entitled to take their land along the way. Tennessee is not alone. In neighboring North Carolina, Vietnamese automaker VinFast is building a EV factory on rural land. In addition to providing $1.2 billion in financial incentives, the North Carolina government is currently trying to take 27 homes, 5 businesses, and a church using eminent domain. It's bad enough when the state decides to give hundreds of millions of dollars to taxpayers. It's bad enough when the state decides to give hundreds of millions of dollars in taxpayer money to companies worth billions, but it's truly disgusting to seize land from private hands simply because the state feels that a company should use it instead. So yeah. Now and up in Tennessee, the property they're talking about, the actual value, they're saying that the property up in this area is going for as much as $200,000 per acre. And they want to give this brother not even $10,000 for his actual property. You got this other person that has 2 acres, and they talk about giving them 37,500 for his 10 acres. I'm sorry, talk about giving him $37,500 for his 10 acres of property. When in actuality, if they were giving him the actual market value, this brother would stand to make $2 million. Now you're going to give all this money to Ford, grant money, and all this other money they don't ever have to worry about paying back, hundreds of millions of dollars, and you can't even give people the actual market value of the actual property you're about to get ready to take. And because it's eminent domain, you can fight it, and you can fight it for a while, but eventually against eminent domain, you lose. Hopefully they'll, I don't know how much longer they're going to be able to weigh it out, but this has been going on for over 100 years. I can tell you that my family, they had property over here in Tallahassee by the Civic Center before they built that in the 70s, and they end up having to sell it. I know a bunch of people that end up having to sell property over time. Like I said, you can put up a fight against it for a little while, but eventually you're going to fold, and they know you're going to fold, and they just going to keep the pressure up on you. So this is happening in multiple states as well, too. And not only that, but like you heard, you have a Vietnamese automaker sitting up here, and they're going to use eminent domain for that as well, too. This VinFast, they're giving them, providing them $1.2 billion in financial incentives for North Carolina. So you're talking about billions upon billions of dollars of taxpayer money that they're giving incentives. And let's not be naive. It's not like Ford doesn't have billions of dollars in their coffer at that either. So they're pouring in billions of dollars, and these people don't have to pay it back, getting all kind of tax breaks. And at the very least, they could at least give people somewhere close to the value, even if you're not going to give them the actual amount of the market value. They're not even trying to meet them halfway. You're talking about giving somebody property is worth $200,000 per acre. That lets you know how valuable that property is, and you're talking about not even giving the person $10,000 in return. I mean, I really don't know how you can really put that into words. For those of you coming in here, I see Black Majority State. I see Rero. How you doing tonight? We're just discussing. We're discussing Brandon Johnson, who just became the mayor of Chicago. Of course, we know Lori Lightfoot was the mayor. Her term, she couldn't. She couldn't come through. She lost. She lost in one of the elections where I think she came in third out of ninth. Now we're also talking about the incident that happened at North Carolina A&T, where you had this white man that had just a stockpile of weaponry on him, walking around, and luckily the cops they found out about it, but at the same time, nobody alerted the students to it. The students didn't hear about this until a week later. So a lot of students are upset that hey, our lives were put in danger. We should have knew something about this. Nothing was said, and we're talking about the actual eminent domain. Once again, this is black farmers getting ripped off again, getting hit. So we mentioning that again. Once again, black farmers they're gonna feel the brunt of it. They're suffering, so they're about to get ripped off. So that's what we're speaking about today. Let me go ahead and Trouble. Go ahead and unmute your mic.
Hey everybody! Shout out to the group. How everybody doing tonight?
What's up?
What up, Trouble? Time limit 3 minutes.
Whatever, Professor.
Mute your mic, Professor. Mute your mic.
Thanks, DJ. Yeah.
Got black women back, see?
I think I'll just start with the HBCU situation. I don't like the fact that it's not being discussed more than what it is. So what that you caught the man immediately? How did you all know that there wasn't a second or a third person around that could have had ill intention? So to use that as an excuse not to inform the students on campus just is, to me, it's just a dereliction of duty. It's like our children are always an afterthought, because if this would have been a white campus, all of the alerts would have been sent out. They'd have still been on campus that day and later on, making sure that, there was nothing that he did while he was on campus, let alone that he was, just singular out there by himself. So I don't understand why they always come up with all of these excuses. Why the MSM have not picked the story up and made, it's almost like in a situation when you're in a domestic violence situation and as a woman you call and you say, well, my husband threatened me or whatever, and they tell you, well, he has to actually do something to you before we can do anything about it. And that's kind of sort of how our children are being treated. Until there's actually something going on campus where there's gunshots or he attacks someone, they're not going to do anything about it. And that's sad this day and age. Those students absolutely had the right to be informed about it. What's going on with the black farmers in Tennessee, excuse me, is the same thing like you were saying, Tola, about, there's other cases I was reading about, I forgot what state it was, but they want to run a train through, black folks' homes and stuff and area. And so they're fighting that too. And so the train company was basically like, we could use eminent domain if you all aren't willing to sell your property to us, so we could run, because it'll be more convenient for us to run, a little route through there so we can get our gravel from one place to the next. So you're talking about bringing all kind of dust and smog and unhealthy air and living conditions to the people, and you want them to give up their land for you to be able to further inconvenience them by doing that. And the same thing with them trying to take the people's land in Tennessee. How the hell do you give somebody less than what the market value of that land is, and that's actually legal? And I'm going to land my plane on this. It could be me, because I'll burn it all the hell down. If I can't have that, then you ain't going to have it either. That's my word.
Yeah, Trouble. They're not even trying to meet the people. They just flat out trying to rip them off. And like I said, we know the history with eminent domain. It always seems to target black people first and foremost. It may get some white folks. It may get some poor white folks. When it does get white folks get equal. They get equal the actual what the market value is. They either get equal, or a lot of times they even get more. With black people, they try to give you as little as possible. They do give you as little as possible. So this is something that hasn't just started. They've been constantly doing it. And you're right about the thing with North Carolina. Had this thing happened at North Carolina A&T, had this happened at at the University of North Carolina or the University of Duke, it would still be in the news. That person's face would be plastered all over. You're right. It's mainly the black media and black newspapers and black magazines that's actually picking up this story, actually talking about it. But had this happened at the University of North Carolina, they would have had an absolute fit. You would have heard about this. Who knows? They probably would have had security out there at least for a good week or so just to monitor everything to make sure nothing else was going to happen. So this would not, this guy, and I think his bond was only $100,000. So you mean this cat can come up with 10 grand and have his crazy ass back on the street? So this is what we're talking about right here. And for whatever reason, these HBCUs, I remember last year, they just kept getting bond threats. Howard, I wonder how many bond threats Howard got as well, too. Go ahead, DJ, you got it.
Nah, that dude bailed out. He bailed out on 100,000. I don't know if it was 10% or not. I played that in the late night space last night.
So he already bailed out.
Yeah, say that again.
So he already bailed out.
Yeah, he bailed out. I'm not sure if he bailed out on the 10%, like you said, which is 10,000 of 100,000. But the dude is homeless. So you homeless running around with all his weaponry. They said he had brass knuckles to a sword, to a 9mm, to a shotgun. And you homeless running around with this shit in your trunk of your car. Yeah, that means you're looking to do something. And then somebody came and posted bond.
Yeah, how the hell you homeless and you got bonded out already?
Right. So, and in the commentator of the video I played last night, they was like, damn, you was better off giving him $100,000 so he could get a fucking house and get his life together, but you'll go bail him out after he was on some domestic terrorism shit. But go ahead.
No. I didn't even know that till you said that he had already got bonded out. So damn, he's already back on the street. And then here's the thing right here. They talking about his mental mind state and whatnot. So yeah, let's go ahead and put this fool right back on the street so he can go ahead and get him another stockpile of weapons and potentially hurt somebody. Talk about the court documents said he was in a very dangerous mental state. So yeah, let's go ahead and give him a bond so he can go out there on the streets. He can go ahead and get more weapons. He can go ahead and threaten more people, potentially kill somebody. And then you already got a built-in excuse, like with the same little chick that was sitting up there, they talk about was transgender that went up there and started shooting people. Everybody, they sympathize and they're giving her an excuse and out. She was this and that or whatever. You going ahead and sympathizing and making everybody empathize for these people and whatnot. But then when it's a face of something that doesn't match your particular group, they're vilified. So no, this Joker right here, if he goes out and he shoots somebody, he hurts somebody, this is totally on the criminal justice system for going ahead. This man shouldn't have got no bond. If he was in such a mental dangerous state, he should have stayed in jail till it was time for him to go to trial. And they could have put him in some kind of mental institution, some kind of mental place. If you're saying that jail is not the place, well, you keep him locked up in some kind of mental hospital, keep this dude sedated, put a damn straitjacket on him, make sure he can't get any sharp object, any metal objects, make sure that this guy is under surveillance 24/7 because he's crazy. Go ahead, DJ.
Yeah, so, with that being said, let's go back to George Floyd riot time, 2020 or whatever. So everybody was not everybody, but certain folks is running around screaming defund the police, right? So this past weekend and shit, riding around doing my deliveries, coming to I'm going to actually pick up an order and I'm taking it to the customer, right? I'm going down the street and the customer house is only maybe about say like 10 blocks down the street from the pickup location shit. So I'm going down to the customer house. I got about halfway there. I'm coming to a red light. This motherfucking Spanish tether come flying from the opposite side of the street like he was fucking racing for somebody and shit. Almost hit me head on, yo. Straight up. He was driving with no lights on. And you know how, like, in movies and shit, Joker be coming past one person in a car. You come up on and y'all look at each other. That's how it was and shit. This motherfucker looked at me and just like, man, I turned my fucking truck around, followed this motherfucker. I called 911, real shit. They pretty much told me to leave him alone and don't follow him and shit. But I'm like, sir, this person is obviously intoxicated. He almost hit me head on. He ran the fucking goddamn light and almost crashed and shit. You know what I'm saying? So all y'all need for him to do now is actually kill some fucking body. Now, keep in mind, this is in Tetherville, Elizabeth, New Jersey. Ain't none but Spanish people out there. It used to be black, but not no more. So with that being said, I wound up following the guy back to call the police. Hey, look, he right here across the street from the Home Depot, yada, yada, yada. I wound up pulling off, and I circled back around the block, and I just stood there. But he clearly see the Spanish dude that I'm following him now. You know what I mean? So I go into the parking lot, pretending that I was leaving, just to come back around and sit there to see if he was gonna leave. My delivery gonna have to wait. My life and somebody's life could be in jeopardy and shit. So I got back, I pulled in the lot, and I came back around a bend. The motherfucker was gone, bro. I said, "Oh shit, where the fuck he go that quick?" Sped up down the street. This joker went to the Avenue section and shit of Elmore, New Jersey. Elizabeth, New Jersey, but the Elmore section or whatever. You know what I mean? So I followed him to one of the bars that be across the street by the pizzeria. Called the police again, like, "Yo, this dude took off. He over here swerving, yada 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 yada. I gotta go get him." You mean to tell me y'all ain't got nobody in the Elmore section that's on duty right now? It ain't even that late. You know what I'm saying? These people don't care, yo. So with that being said, ain't no cops came and arrested this dude. None of that shit. They want lawlessness in this country, man. And you clearly see that because of what's going on post George Floyd. But yeah.
Yeah, the post George Floyd, everything, and even a lot of these mega companies and stuff, corporations, I was talking about, they were going to go ahead and they were going to make investments into the inner city and the urban areas and into the black communities and all this other nonsense they was talking about. You see, they quiet as kept. You don't hear anything from them now. They're not investing jack into it. At the time, when all that media attention was being garnered, that was a time to try to go in there and try to soak up a little bit of limelight for themselves. Now that everything is quiet back down, they've gotten as far away from those statements as possible. They could care less. Go ahead, DJ, go ahead, and then we're going to go to Professor.
No, I was just going to say, don't forget that these Democratic governors and mayors are giving these illegals driver's license. So that dude either had a license legally or just was driving in general, didn't give a fuck. But at the end of the day, how you going to give some folks that ain't even from this country a license to drive when they don't even know the road? You feel what I'm saying? They don't know the area. They don't understand signage. You feel what I'm saying? Stop sign, crosswalk, highway, byway. They don't understand that. They haven't been here long enough to understand that. You need to force these people to use mass transportation, especially up here in New Jersey. Why aren't they utilizing New Jersey Transit? But New Jersey Transit is constantly crying for federal dollars, saying that they are shorthanded and need money for repairs and all this other shit. Well, you could get it from the tellers. They up here in their abundance. Why you ain't forcing them to use mass transportation? So even if you was going to give them something for free, you can give them a bus card for a year or whatever. Make sure they get in and feed, whatever, right? But you ain't even forcing them to do that. But go ahead, Professor.
Yeah, DJ. Thanks, man, for all that information, because that is very true, man. They want lawlessness in this country, and we are getting it, and we're seeing it every day. We're seeing the breakdown of everything. And y'all, I'm telling you, it's crazy. Because as we're speaking right now, there's been shootings of police officers right there in Kansas City. I threw that up into your Jumbotron earlier. News story. That's a breaking news story. I think it was like 3 or 4 of them just got shot over there in Kansas City. Don't know who's involved, and I don't know if it's us or Tethers or whoever, but that'll be something we'll have to keep an eye on. Now, getting back to the topics at hand, everybody. Brandon Johnson. I want to know if somebody can tell me, is he one of us, Brandon Johnson? Like, is he one of the FBA or is he one of the others? Anybody know that?
I'm gonna be honest, Professor. I'm not sure. I would assume that Brandon Johnson is a Black American. I guess what you want to say, descendant of chattel slavery. I'm not entirely sure about that, but just from my understanding, I believe he's a Black American.
Well, and see, this is the thing, man. It's like our people are going to keep caping for other groups, which is something that we just can't do. I don't care what position you are in. You got to cape for your own people. Just like other groups are caping for theirs, we need to be caping for our own group. LPA, ADOS, Negro, Asa Segundo, whatever you want to call yourself. Shit. People hood people, neighborhood. I'm down from the hood.
Boys in the hood. You know what I'm saying?
Boys in the hood. Whatever you want to call yourself. You know, we got the cake for our own people. And I don't understand why we keep having these leaders like, and I guess you have to throw Stacey Abrams in there, that want to keep caping for other groups. And you're a foundation. You know, so Brandon Johnson can kiss my black ass. There you go. Now, moving on to the situation in Tennessee. As we know, eminent domain has always been very hurtful to Black Americans. They continue to use it in a way to discriminate, to take from us. And the way the law is set up, y'all, you can't fight against it. That's the issue at hand. There's no way around the law. And that's the problem with the laws in America, is they make sure they make these laws really to use against us, and they try to make them where we can't fight, can't find any way to fight against them. And of course, this is continuing to hurt our Black farmers. We in a dire situation with the Black farmers right now, and this of course brings me back to what's going on with Brother C.W. Mallory out there. So this is why more than ever we have to find a way to protect the farmers that we have left. We got to continue to find any kind of way to get some kind of legislation on the books for protection for our people, and that's on everything, y'all. We are being attacked in every corner, and so eminent domain is another tool for the white supremacists to use against us. Now they do use it against others, but right now with the climate of the country, eminent domain is going to be very important, because it's going to be a very important tool that they would be using against us to take land that has been in our family for years. So Black Americans, more than ever, pay attention to everything that's happening around you, such as the situation in North Carolina, A&T. I believe this is T.S. Giselle School, as she or Shim always talks about when she comes up in spaces. That's right. So, with that being said, this person should be locked up right now. Why this guy is out, I don't know, because if it was a Black person that was involved in something like this, they would be locked up and they wouldn't be able to see the day of light. They wouldn't get a bond. See? But this guy is out. And DJ, you said he's homeless, right?
Yeah.
So who the hell got this guy out? I'm wondering.
Somebody came and got him out, Professor. I'm trying to figure that one out myself. How in the hell you homeless? First off, how you homeless? Okay, I know you got homeless people live out their car, but my man even though it's a 2004, he got a Ford Mustang, he homeless, and he got a stockpile of weapons. And he finds, $10,000 to get himself up out of there.
Yeah, it's unbelievable, folks. This man is able to get out, and the average Black American that has some assets and a foundation can get out if they get in trouble. I.e., Brother Mariko Johnson. I hope y'all haven't forgotten about that, brother. I hope y'all haven't forgotten about that. Sister Tanisha Johnson. Let's keep her in our prayers, but let's continue to do what we can for that sister, as well as the Mallorys. And then we got a list. We just got a list of people that we have to think about, y'all, including our own situations with our own families, because we having to deal with things within our own families. But y'all, we got to make sure that we take care of each other, because we are in a dire situation in this country. I see the climate. I feel it. It's like, it's just so ugly out here, man. I was telling somebody at the end, maybe it was in one of y'all spaces, DJ and Newstoter, about with this whole Trump situation. I was in a Walmart and I could hear white people in there discussing that, and they was very heated about that. See, this is the climate, man. We in a very heated situation, man. This is why I keep telling y'all to be prepared, keep yourselves ready at all times. These motherfuckers will attack you from somewhere. I don't know where. They'll just attack you. Shit. Hey, look, y'all seen the videos. They out here just attacking folks. And then white men are stepping up their heat on black women, because I'm seeing more videos where white men are attacking the sisters. Yeah. They don't even try to attack the black men. They try to attack you sisters out in the stores somewhere. Yeah. Like, what kind of shit is that? I mean, come on now. A man attacking women? What kind of low down shit is that? But this is what we dealing with out here, folks. Evil, demonic Caucasoids. We got to send these motherfuckers back to hell, which is the Caucasus Mountains over there in Russia or somewhere over there. Wherever the hell that shit is. Caucasus in the Balkans or something over there. Anyway, we got to send them back over there. And I land my plane there, family. Thank you. Peace, power, reparation to you all. Let's go get our money, and let's continue to prepare for war. Let's continue to protect each other. Okay?
Real talk, Professor. Go ahead, DJ.
That was longer than 3 minutes, Professor.
I'm sorry, Trouble. Hey, look, we'll give you an additional 5 minutes, sister.
Hell no, write that nigga out, Trouble. Write his ass up. Get the paperwork stuff.
It's a story that happened out of North Carolina A&T University, which is a HBCU. So a guy by the name of Brandon James Bentley, he's 27 years old. Now, they said that he came up to the school in a very dangerous mental state. They said he was arrested at North Carolina A&T campus after asking for help from campus security, who saw multiple weapons in his car. Oh, yes, let's get into this story, because if you need help, why did you go all the way to North Carolina A&T University when you could have stopped any place you could to get somebody to call the police for you, right? So Brandon here, he ran up to officers asking for help early in the morning on March 26th because he was terrified of being kidnapped by a religious cult he found through social media, according to court records. He explained he had the weapons because he was in fear of his life. Now, Bentley was released on a $100,000 security bond. Okay, I want you to hear this story, which makes it say, like they used to say back in the day, right? He's homeless, y'all. So you posted a $100,000 secured bond, and you're homeless, and you're living in your car. While in the middle of a divorce, according to court records, authorities seized a lengthy list of weapons from his car. What homeless person can post a $100,000 secured bond? Now, some people may say, well, his family probably helped him out. Okay, they can go post a bond for him, but they can't help him get a place to stay. It'd be cheaper to get him a place to stay than posting that bond, right? So they said that North Carolina A&T issued an email advisory Monday to students and employees about Bentley's arrest, which happened about 8 days earlier, which the campus was wrong for that. They should have let people know immediately about that. They said the university said the incident happened at approximately 4 a.m. March 26th when Bentley was observed driving unsafely in the area of Sullivan Street and Benbow Road. And say among the weapons seized were 2 handguns, 2 shotguns, a rifle, and more than 1,000 rounds of ammunition. Now remember, y'all, this dude is homeless. He's homeless with this much firepower. Okay, you homeless. Why do you have guns? You know, you go to the pawn shop and sell them guns and get money for them, but yeah, you walk around, you got guns? Where you get guns from if you homeless? How you post a $100,000 bond if you homeless? But yet, if there's somebody to save his family, Why didn't they get you off the street if they can post your bond? I'm just trying to just cover all things. I said, in addition to the guns and ammunition in Bentley's 2004 Mustang, officers also seized a crossbow, a machete, a stun gun, a hatchet, knives, choking devices, pepper spray, a blow dart gun, brass knuckles, a sword, and other weaponry. It said the inventory of items included one chicken foot, holy water, a radio receiver, a lighter, and a window breaker, and more. Y'all, come on, man, look, that dude was a freaking potential domestic terrorist that was going up to North Carolina A&T to do something to black folks. Because, remember, this dude's supposed to be homeless, y'all, and got all of that. He got all that in his car? Like, seriously? That was a potential domestic terror attack against a black university. They say charges against him include a gun on educational property, explosive device on educational property, weapon on educational property, carrying a concealed gun, driving with a revoked license, and reckless driving. Now they say because of the quick and decisive action of law enforcement, it said a campus alert was not issued as the suspect no longer constituted an ongoing threat to campus security, according to the university. Now, saying the ongoing investigation being conducted by the FBI, the State Bureau of Investigation, the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms, ATF, and saying the Greensboro Police Department, and said University Minister said Bentley, who has no affiliation with A&T, has been banned from the campus. North Carolina A&T said it remains committed to safety and security of our campus and will continue to use emergency alert system instances where threats are ongoing. They said that he appeared in court on March 27th, and his next court date is April 25th. Y'all, this dude here was targeting a black university because nobody that's supposedly homeless have handguns, shotguns, 1,000 rounds of ammo, and having a freaking crossbow, machete, stun gun, hatchet, knives, choking devices, pepper spray, blow dart gun, brass knuckle sword, and other weaponry to protect yourself. Okay, I can get the handgun, the shotgun part, but all that? No. You was going to be a freaking terrorist, or you was going to be some sort of, abductor or somebody. Like, no, this dude was really, and I'll tell you, they're always paying attention to black men. When they catch black men, they may have a gun on them or whatever, but they don't be having all this stuff. Black men don't be doing this. The real criminals of America is white males. That's the real criminals of America, and that's why you have so much crime. Because see, black men they are prosecuted to the letter of the law and to the fullest extent of the law. But when it comes to people like him, he gets a bond. Why is he even getting a bond with all that mess that they seized it? Who to say he ain't got no more somewhere that the cops don't know about? Remember, he was homeless. So what's the house that they go search? Okay, they go and pound his car, so who to say he won't get another one somewhere? Now, I would say at this moment, shout out to law enforcement on this one. I got to give them props. Listen, the cops do good, I'm going to give them props. If they do bad, I'm a drag them, right? Shout out to them for catching that. I don't know what police officer saw what the deal was, especially at 4 in the morning. Because I'm like, you got a good eye to see that at 4 in the morning. But this dude wanted to come up here. I believe that he was trying to really sniff around and see if the cops would be lax with him. Because like I said, hey, he's a Mzungu, so he'll be light with me. And then this dude, I really believe, while those students were sleeping, he wanted to run up in there and catch them off guard and do an attack. That's what I really believe that he wanted to do. Because who would they suspect that coming at 4 a.m., right? They will catch everybody off guard. You sleeping all of a sudden, say, what, am I dreaming? What's going on? While this dude running around and the place out. So we got to be vigilant, y'all. We got to be vigilant. We got to watch as much as possible with these white supremacists as their world is coming to an end, as their birth rates drop, as, the different things that's in society taking them out. They're gonna get like this worse, and even on the world stage, it'll get worse and worse because their social order is being threatened right now on the other side of the world with BRICS, because they're making inroads in the African continent, and the Africans want to deal with BRICS way more than the Western world. So that's threatening them too. So they got threats all over the place for them. So when they get threatened, they get the most violent. So we all got to be watching, what's going on with these people. But you can't believe. I'm a firm believer he was sent. He was sent by whoever he was sent by, because there's no way a homeless guy would have all that firepower. No way. And can post a bond. Who posted the bond? That's what I want to know. But let me know what y'all think about this particular story, ladies and gentlemen. Because, like I told you, the real criminal of America don't look like me and you. It never has, and it truly never will.
Yeah, that was Philip Scott with African Passport News Channel. You already know. Go ahead.
Yeah, he pretty much said everything that we pretty much been saying already in this space, and that was the first time I actually heard that. I mean, it just doesn't make any sense. You got somebody that's homeless and he's got a stockpile of weapons. Like I said, he's got his Ford, even though the Mustang might be old. Then they come up all of a sudden he gets he has $100,000 bill. Even if you got to pay $10,000 like that, we all know $10,000 is not easy to come up with. And like Phil say, even if people talk about his family might have bailed him out, but yeah, if your family bailed you out, I would think they'd be able to at least get you at the very least an apartment, or you in North Carolina, a trailer or something like that. So it just doesn't make sense. I wouldn't doubt that this joker was sent by somebody as well too. I'm having a hard time believing that you got a homeless man living out his car and he's got all of this stuff in there. And he's ready to do harm. And North Carolina A&T should have went ahead and alerted the entire student body out there the potential threat. I know you don't want to cause commotion. I know you don't want to get everybody in a frenzy or whatever, but people need to know, because you got, in this day and time where you got all of these mass shootings and stuff like that, people need to be on alert, so you don't sit up here and wait a week later and say that this individual was on the campus, near the campus or whatever, trying to get on the campus, and now we're going to tell y'all about it. Now you're really putting people at harm's way. Go ahead and let everybody know, so at least the people on campus can kind of look out for each other. You got your people might be out, your friends might be out. You got a bunch of young women out, they out someplace, they don't know anything about it. You got a bunch of fellas out someplace, they don't know anything about it. Next thing you know, here comes this idiot right here and he opens fire. So you can't do that. I know they were saying that things had been squashed or whatever, but when they first got wind of it, because you never know sometimes, or people might not be working with other people as well too. So yeah, we got him, they arrested him, they got him off the street, but who's to say there wasn't 2-3 other of them, just like that time they planned on blowing up the grid up there in Baltimore. You had a man and a woman together. So you never know if people are working with other people, if they got partners in crime with them or whatever. Go ahead and notify the actual student body population. Let them know. Let all of the faculty know exactly what's going on as well too, because it's totally unfair if any of the faculty knew about it and none of the students knew about it. And if anybody has a college age child up in this Twitter space, I'm pretty sure everybody would want to know that, hey, we would want to know exactly what's going on. Let our child know, so the child can go ahead and let us know. Some parents may want to go ahead and get the kid up off of campus until everything cools down. You just never know exactly how people are going to react. So that's something that North Carolina A&T and any of the other HBCUs, because they constantly get bomb threats, they constantly get threats. When things of that nature, it may be a false flag, but go ahead and let people know. Just like growing up, when we used to have down here, we used to have the little hurricane drills and stuff like that. No hurricane was coming at that time, no tornado, but you still practice and you still have warnings and stuff like that. Let people know exactly if potential harm is on the way. You got to let folks know. And like everybody else said, I'm trying to figure out where in the hell this dude got all of this, how he was able to come up with this bond. If this dude was such mentally disturbed, as they said, he should be in some kind of psych ward right now, wearing a damn a straight jacket on and taking some kind of medicine, making him doze off all throughout the day. So this cat, you done put him back on the streets potentially to get another stockpile, because we know in this country here, it's not hard to get a hold of this type of weaponry. So it makes absolutely no sense. It's putting people's lives at danger. And the criminal justice system, if this had been a black man and what Phil was saying is true, but let's say, for instance, that this black man was able to get a bond, you better believe that bond was going to be $1 million on up. He wasn't going to have no 100,000. He would have had to, his bond would have been $1 million if he would have got a bond at all. But if he would have got one, it would have been $1 million. Let that have been a black man with that kind of weaponry, like I say, at the University of North Carolina, Tar Heel Blue, or the Duke Blue Devils. Let him have been over there near that campus and this and that, and saying that kind of crazy mumbo jumbo stuff as well. Talk about a code and this and that and all this other stuff after him. Let him have said that kind of stuff. Let him have that, and let them have seen all those weapons that he had and stuff like that too. This would be on national news. They'd be talking about this dude. And it's just quietly talked about a little bit, and they talk about it, and then it's forgotten. So that's why I say it's important for us to go ahead and spread the actual message, let people know. And the HBCUs, so they also got to go ahead. They see the kind of threats they get annually, so they need to go ahead and tighten up their security as much as possible as well too. You got to have that on-campus security nowadays. With as crazy as things are, and we live in an era of nothing but mass shootings. Go ahead and tighten up the campus security. Make sure that you can account for things. You can't guarantee complete 100% safety, but go ahead and do your best to go ahead and lock down that actual campus as much as possible so people can be safe on there. OG, go ahead and unmute your mic.
Yeah, okay, guys. Thanks for bringing me up, Newstoter. Shout out to the room. Peace, prosperity, reparations to all. Listen, another main reason they should have let the campus, students on the campus know is because maybe they would have seen something prior, that looked suspicious, or maybe they would have seen something afterwards. That they could, correlate with this, with this event here. So I'm thinking that they're supposed to have some kind of emailing system. Somebody can speak to me about that. I think they're supposed to have an emailing system. But in essence, if this was a conspiracy for more than one person, then now they've been given a chance to reset. And that's all I have for the moment.
Appreciate that, OG. And I don't know. I'm sure they got to have some kind of system of notifying people. And not only that, but I mean, simply if you're in class, I mean, you can get in contact with the professors out there, and the professors can tell the actual students as well too. There's all kind of ways of notifying people, letting them know exactly what's going on. So, like I said, you can't take things for granted anymore. Buffalo, we see what happened in Buffalo. We've seen what happened in the church in South Carolina years ago. There's just too many instances on top of all the other mass shootings and stuff we have in this country. You got 1,000 rounds. That's exactly what this dude was planning on doing there. He wasn't coming up there just to brandish his weapons. He was coming up there to really inflict some serious hurt on some people right there. So you just can't play with this kind of stuff anymore, man. And these HBCUs, they got to know better. They got to know exactly what's going on. They live in the same world that you and I live in. People are not playing. It's one reason that you constantly had this debate about gun control going on in this country. And whether you're for gun control or you're against gun control or whatever, that's your opinion. That you can feel how you want to feel. I have no say in it. I just know this right here. You're gonna never totally get gun control in this country because, let's be honest, guns are what put a certain group of people in power to conquer the damn world. So do you honestly think they're gonna go ahead and limit? You're talking about the biggest manufacturer of guns on earth. We produce more guns and sell more ammunition and more armed weapons. We can sit up here and talk about all these dictators and these little third world countries and all this. We help to go ahead and put them in power, and we damn sure help to go ahead and arm them. Do you really think that the one advantage that the dominant society has over everybody else, they're going to really let that go? Please. Original. Oh, go ahead, OG. Go ahead.
This guy was probably trying to case the area, or he already knew, was trying to wait for the 8 o'clock hour when it was busy, people going to class and all.
Yeah, I wouldn't doubt it. For all our people that's come up in the space, we're talking about Brandon Johnson, who was just elected mayor of Chicago. We're talking about the eminent domain situation that's going on in Tennessee with the Ford factory. They're trying to take property from black farmers, and they only want to give them just a measly amount of money for that property, for their properties. We're also talking about, of course, you hear us talking about the situation that happened at the HBCU North Carolina A&T, and the white man that was strapped out the wazoo had his own little stockpile of weapons and was ready to set it off. We'll give props to the cops because they did go ahead and they catched him just in the act of time. So if not, this would have been perhaps a tragedy that we'd be talking about. Who knows? So, thank God that did not transpire. So let me also say to everybody in the space up in the Jumbotron, the YouTube channel, we got like 4 subscriptions yesterday, I think 3 or 4. So please go ahead up in the Jumbotron. Let me find out exactly what that's at. I think that's over the maybe about the 5th one to the left. We have the YouTube channel up in there, guys. So if you can, please go ahead and subscribe to the YouTube channel. We're trying to grow that YouTube channel. So if you can, please, while the space is going on, just run over to YouTube real quick and click that subscribe button. Also click the notification so you'll know if you don't catch the actual Twitter Space Live. You guys know we're uploading it at the same time simultaneously, so you can always catch the Twitter Spaces being uploaded to the actual YouTube channel. So please, if you can, support us there. Also, in the Jumbotron, we have the Cash App, $Newstoter, $Newstoter. Newstoter is the largest Black-owned, Black American news media curation platform today in America. Once again, Newstoter is the largest Black-owned, largest Black American media news curation platform today in America. You can support us on Cash App. That is $Newstoter, $Newstoter. If you don't have a Cash App, we have a Venmo and PayPal also up in the Jumbotron. Let me go ahead and kick it to I saw original hand up. Trouble, did you still want to speak to? Because I saw you had your hand up. Trouble Mayor.
Yeah, I don't know if you can hear me because I got my Bluetooth on. Can you hear me or no?
Yeah, you kind of a little bit muffled though. But I know you probably driving, right? Yeah, I can hear you. I can hear you. Let me go ahead and I'm gonna get to original. I'm gonna get to.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you. You want to say something real quick while you're driving?
Yeah, I just wanted to just draw the same conclusion what I was talking to you earlier about the HBCU situation and how they don't care about our kids. Case in point, my kids' schools here and they're high schoolers and middle school. One is in middle school. They've been having bomb threats for the last several months. And so in their district, it's set up to where the district has total control over, what the schools are allowed to do. So while they'll text us parents or send a phone call out or email us and tell us, well, we just received a bomb threat or we just, we got the schools on hold. What they say is we put the schools on hold due to an active shooter alert or threat. And so in the beginning, they was allowing us, if we wanted to come and pick our kids up. And so we had to navigate between the 3 schools that our kids are at to go and pick them up because we absolutely was. However, in the other district, that district is allowed, which is the white district, is allowed for the schools to make the G call on whether or not they just shut the school down. And so those schools were counseling schools. They'd even cancel school for a couple of days. So for them not to give the HBCU college students, that warning is total bullshit, just like what my school district does by not allowing the schools to make the G call on whether or not to send the kids home. Y'all put the kids on hold, which means they have to stay inside their classroom for several hours until you all can determine whether or not it was a real threat or whether or not, it's just BS. So now they're not even allowing the parents to come and get the kids because now they're saying, well, if we allow the parents to come in, who's to say that one of you all isn't the shooter or the person threatening the bomb? And so we now don't want to take the chance allowing the parents to come and get the kids because that's unsafe. So I'm just saying that to say that when it comes to our children, whether it's high school, middle school, or on the collegiate level, they don't care about us. And we always have to stay ahead. And that's why I'm so irritated with the fact that the mainstream media had really highlighted it. So have a lot of
you breaking up on us, Trouble. Yeah, you breaking up on us. I think we may have lost Trouble, but she'll come. Yeah, you breaking up, Trouble. I know you're driving, so when you get a chance, Yeah, you can come back up or whatever. I know you're probably driving, so you probably hit a little area. When you get a chance, come back up as well. Or you're already up here, but just when you get a chance, come back and speak. Let me go ahead and get to original. Let me get to Ray after that. Go ahead. Go ahead, original. How you doing tonight?
Greetings, everybody. Peace, black power, and lineage-based preparation. Now, trouble is right because, see, I'm going to share something with you. See, I know someone who works at Georgia Tech, okay? And this was like after hours. Something had went down on, it was like maybe couple years ago or whatever. Something had went down after hours, and their cell phone went off. And it was saying that if you're on campus, lock yourself down or do not come on campus. So, and I'm sure, more than likely, I'm going to go out on a limb, more than likely, North Carolina A&T has the same damn system or a similar system that Georgia Tech has. And you're going to tell me that you couldn't contact our children, which is our future, to let them know that something had gone down and that they need to shelter in place, until notified otherwise. This is beyond jacked up. Because see, when I see these things happen, there is no way that this could happen to a white school. And the media is not going to cover it. See, Donald Trump was right when he said that the media is fake. And that's because this came across my Twitter feed, today.
We're the homie.
There you go. All right. This came across my Twitter feed today. And I made sure that I tagged CNN, MSNBC, NBC News, CBS News, ABC, as many of them as I could that crossed my mind to let them know that your news is fake. Because there's no way that this would have went down like this, for a white school. And people need to understand and see, we're going to have to, really have a conversation with our children and let them know that, always be on the lookout, especially when they are going away to school. Never, ever, ever trust a white person. I don't care if they cop or what. Never, if an old white lady asks you, "Oh, baby, can you help me put this in my car?" Hell no. Let her get it the best damn way she can, cause you don't know what her motives are. Do not trust white people. Do not trust white people or I call it the white looking people. And those are the Asian, the Arabs, and the Spanish speaking and everything else. Do not trust these people because they may have ulterior motives while they're trying to get you to assist them. They might be trying to do something else to you. So do not trust them. They can never be trusted. And I think that conversation has to be had because this would have never gone on at these other schools. And if I'm not mistaken, also over here at the Atlanta University Center, where you have the Morehouse, Spelman, and Morris Brown and Clark Atlanta, whatever. Because I think something had happened over there not too long ago, and they sent out an alert via the cell phone. Because see, nowadays everyone has cell phone, and when you go to register for school, they ask your child what is your cell phone number, or if you work on the campus, like the person I know, they got a text after hours or something went down on Georgia Tech campus. So there isn't any way you can tell me that these children should not have been notified. This is insane. And I think that school itself, it needs to be punished. If you have a child going to that school, let them go ahead and finish out this semester, but you need to start looking at putting your child on another school. And if that school fails, so be it. Because if you're going to treat black children this way, then I mean that right there lets me know you got a deep disdain. You really all you care about are those children coming to your school and making your school profitable. That's it. You have no other care in the world. You don't care whether they live or die. This is insane. So yeah, that has to be looked at because it's under the situation with Tennessee. You know, this right here is just gone. This is beyond belief. Now, you all remember when they wanted to take over that? What was the name of that town? Newstoter.
Oh, you talking about what's the town in Tennessee that they Mason.
Mason. See, this is really why they wanted to take control of Mason because see, once they had taken control of it, they would have just forced those people out because see, there was a situation here in Atlanta whereby it started with the little McGilla gorilla looking Kasim Reed. He wanted to take these people property by eminent domain. And it was over here near where the old Braves Stadium used to be, where Georgia State bought that. And so this one sister, I think she's a professor, but she stood up and she fought back. They took all these people's home, and I think they tried to pay them like, you might as well say under the table, but they didn't give them the current value of their homes. And then so she kept fighting. And then eventually she even found whereby an engineering firm had stated that there was no reason for these people to lose their home, and that they could, whatever it is they wanted to do in their home. And so, and even the mayor that came after McGilla gorilla looking Kasim Reed, that old Keisha Bottom tramp, I'll say tramp today, I'll be halfway nice. The people she was trying to help Jim Crow Joe get elected. He was in South Carolina, and these people traveled all the way to South Carolina, and they heckled that tramp, and she was upset. And see, this is what happened, people. That's why we got to change the way that we vote. We just can't vote. I'm not voting for anybody unless you have something to offer black people.
You there, original? Hey, original, can you hear me? Right, I think we might have lost original there. Yeah. Let me go ahead and get to Ray. Ray, go ahead and unmute your mic.
What's going on, everybody? Y'all hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
What up, bro?
What up? Just want to make sure I got Bluetooth in. Wasn't sure if y'all was able to hear me. But y'all know I can definitely comment on the. I'm sorry, what you about to say, DJ?
No, I was just gonna say check the text message. I wasn't sure you saw that message after I spoke to you, but go ahead though.
Yeah, I dozed off after that after I got home. But yeah, the arm shooter. Y'all getting old, man. Got to take the date now. Arm shooter, man. So I was talking to Brother Marcel about this years, when he was first running, man. So if they really wanted to stop mass shootings, I got some things that would definitely help out. So national reciprocity, which basically that means no matter what state you live in, you be able to carry. Because depending on what state you live in, you can't open carry in this place, or you can't open carry here. And in this state, you only have 10 rounds. This one is unlimited ammo. If they just go ahead and make it universal nationwide, that would definitely help. We really got to get rid of some of these gun-free zones, because mass shooters, if you think like they look at these schools as just being held. I want to be the only person now with a gun, so I can, let loose as much as havoc. It'd be a couple of minutes before someone even gets here to try to stop. Obviously there'd be exceptions like federal buildings, courthouses, airports, prisons, military bases, things like that. But we have to try to protect our schools. Like, why are we not having more armed guards there to put the threat down when evil decides to sprout its own heads up? It makes no sense. I talked to Brother Marcel about putting money into researching a solution for, the mental health problem we have in this country, and research a connection to psychopathic drugs, psychotropic medicines and mass shootings. I talked to him about timeout training for firearms training, especially, women and black people that live in low economic communities, since obviously they tend to be with a high crime rate. teaching firearm safety in every school. We obviously have metal detectors and armed guards at all. We need to invest in evidence-based, community-driven strategies like group violence intervention, relationship-based street outreach, and hospital-based violence intervention programs. Actually enforcing the gun laws that we have. And lastly, actually, we need to include the gun owners, on the discussion about firearms, because this is the thing. At the end of the day, every law that they take away from us, we aren't going to get it back. That's not how government works. They're going to take it away with the promise of safety, but at the end of the day, if someone kicks on the door right now, I got to protect my family. I can't wait on the police because they're not going to be here for a couple of minutes. In the meantime, again, this person can do as much harm as they want to. So, obviously, you guys follow me. I am not for gun control at all. I can protect my family. I can protect myself as the government ever. I'm a land right there. There's plenty of things that we could be doing, but obviously that's going to involve Joe Biden actually taking some type of real accountability. But it's easier to just focus on gun laws. Because like I said, that takes away from us as good people. But these mass shooters, they don't give a damn about that. They're going to carry whatever gun they want, as much ammo as they want. And let's just be honest, the American people have over 400 guns. And the last estimate was we have close to 1 trillion rounds of ammo. 1 trillion with the T. So if we were truly the problem, trust me, they would know.
All right, Ray. Thank you. Let me go ahead and get to Mr. Engagement and Original. I'm going to bring you back up. I know I lost you for a second there, so we'll bring you back up in a second as well, too. Mr. Engagement, what's going on tonight?
Hey, man, I'm cleaning on a late night shift, chilling. I'm glad that you're talking about that. I'm going to start off with the most pertinent one. I'm going to do the NCAA armed man, armed white man. Yeah. I think we need to put labels where they should be fit at. First of all. Second of all, this guy, I really think when I look at the situation is that do they have campus police up there? And where's the campus police protocols when dealing with domestic white terrorists? I think we need to start there and start challenging the people or the authorities of that institution that's supposed to be keeping our children safe there, our Negro and our Black children safe up there. So I really want to question more or less the campus police and understanding where's their procedures, or do they even have these type of procedures? Because they should, because one is an HBCU, one is an institution that has been threatened in such manner. So that's the reason why I'm more or less concerned. Do they have procedures? And if they were they executed and were they followed? I'm not a major fan of gun control. And being a Black man who's trying to exercise their rights, they do whatever they can to take that right from us Negro American Black people. And I find that very, 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 very problematic. So, like, any forms of gun control is just going to be more or less just to stop Negroes that have guns, or already have guns in their possessions legally. So I'm totally against that on any means. Until we get our arms up correctly, why would we want to stop the flow of guns? I don't see how that would benefit the average person. And the way that they're discriminating towards people with firearms, I wouldn't say do anything illegal, but I'm starting to look at how unjust we get treated and the crimes that's being perpetrated against us. And brother, I'd rather be tried by 12 than carried out by 6 right about now. It might sound really extreme. I don't want to promote that on the platform, brother, like that. But I just don't see us having a fair opportunity in exercising our rights. I'm a Black man who was a security guard for over 10 plus years, and I still can't get a pistol permit, and I don't have a record. So again, they pick and choose who they want to give those pistol permits to, and they've been giving it to everybody but us, and that's a problem. And our children are affected over this. My other thing is that I look at Kamala Harris and said nothing about this. And she went to an HBCU. So I find that very problematic. Miss, I don't want to do anything for black people, specifically for black people, but you see us specifically being targeted. So I just want to end off on that because I'm very, very upset that this man was allowed to even walk off the campus alive. But he shouldn't have. They should have. Like, those are our children. That's our future. And I think we need to start protecting them.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Engaging. Let me go ahead and get to Original. Original, I know we lost you for a second. Go ahead and unmute your mic.
Yeah, I just blinked out there for a minute. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay. Yeah, and as far as this eminent domain situation, now you all remember what was said is that one of the reasons that they went after Mr. Bill Cosby is that they want to run some kind of gas line or something through his property, and he told them no, and they got you know how these crazy white folks are. They think they can anytime they want you to do something, you should do it, and he said no, and they said that's when all this stuff started coming down the pipe about him doing all these things and whatever. See, that's how low down they are. If you don't go along with their stupidity, they want to jack your property up, putting your life in danger because if the pipe were to rupture or something, that has you in direct line of fire. And at that point, it's not a damn thing you can do about it. So I just wanted to throw that out there because, see, and then these, you had mentioned that Brandon Johnson. Oh, my goodness. I saw a video of some black folks out there dancing in the street like some damn fools. Now, they don't even see that this boy ain't going to do a damn thing for them. I mean, this vote for blue and black, no matter who, that right there, I mean, black folks, y'all got to stop that. Because, see, I just recently got another text message from this Black Voters Matter. And I'm going to respond to it because the last time they sent me something soliciting my vote, and I let them know, I said, with reparation being a hot topic right now, I don't see any, if you are supposed to be for black people, see people, these little organizations, when they call themselves black, more so than not, they are a front for white people. Their financing and everything is being given to them by white folks, but they want to come at us under the auspices of being black and thinking that we're just going to go along with whatever it is they're doing. Because if you listen to them when you see them on TV, they never say anything about doing for black. Their objective is we're going to take care of everybody. Just like you all remember when Cory Booker was running for the White House, and Charlemagne asked him, "What is your agenda for black folks?" He started laughing initially. Then when he saw Charlemagne was serious, then he came out with their fallback. Well, I represent all people. Okay, yeah, but you represent all people. But what specifically are you going to do for black folks? And see, they know now that they've run out of time. We're not buying those lies any longer. So I just want to and also too, we may have to start contacting Ford Motor Company, letting them know we will no longer buy any of their cars or do business with any of their subsidiaries and anything else. If this is how you're going to treat black folks, then we're going to do the same thing to you. Because see, once their numbers start to falter, they're gonna have to look at this differently. So I would say, just starting now, if you're looking at getting a new or a used car, do not buy a Ford. And I'll land with that.
Thank you, Original. I wanted to and we mentioned Brandon Johnson, and like I said, a few weeks ago, maybe even a month or so ago, we had a space and we was talking about Brandon Johnson and his platform and what it entails. And I think we kind of forgot a little bit about it. I know you said people were up there dancing in Chicago. So it's an article that curated a while ago, and I wanted to just go ahead and touch up on that real briefly, just glance over some things. And it was titled I believe it was from the Chicago Sun-Times. It says mayor challenger Brandon Johnson unveils plan to help migrants, refugees, and immigrants. Defying forces seeking to divide blacks and Hispanics, mayor challenger Brandon Johnson vowed money to give immigrants, migrants, and refugees seeking asylum in Chicago a greater voice in the government. There's enough for everyone in the city. No one has to lose at the expense of someone else winning. We are disrupting that mindset, Johnson said, referring to historic political tensions between blacks and Hispanics centered on the fight for jobs and contracts. It's not about a single pie. It's about making multiple pies. Whatever it is, there's going to be enough for everybody, Johnson added. This disruption that people are afraid of, you don't got to be afraid of the people because that's who belongs on the fifth floor in the first place. Johnson unveiled what he called his plan for sanctuary and immigrant justice at the Plaza of the Americas outside Ringling building on North Michigan Avenue, flanked by the leaders of a 100-member group he called Latinos for Johnson. The plan accuses Mayor Laura Lightfoot administration having bulldozed its way through difficult decisions with migrant resettlement without care or forethought, failing longtime residents and arriving migrant families. Even worse, welcoming migrants into our city with no real plans has left many stranded across Chicago, sleeping on trains and floors, Johnson's plan states. Among his proposals to work with J.B. Pritzker, governor and Democratic-controlled Illinois General Assembly to pass legislation to allow parents and taxpayers to vote in school elections regardless of citizenship and status. Another mayoral challenger, U.S. Representative Jesus Garcia, also embraced that idea in his immigration platform released Monday. Remember, this article is kind of dated here. In that plan, he pledged to make sure non-citizen taxpayers and undocumented parents can vote in local school board elections as they do in their local school council. Among other items, Garcia also said he would ensure comprehensive language access for all parents and CPS and government agencies. Johnson plan, meanwhile, also would, and this is Johnson's plan also, create a new non-citizen advisory board for the Chicago Board of Education, give migrants and refugees a real voice in policing policy and public safety by appointing non-citizens representation of the 7-member Community Commission for Public Safety and Accountability, Chicago's fledgling Civilian Police Oversight Commission, broaden the special status afforded to unhoused Chicago public school students in temporary living situations to include migrant children, making them eligible for benefits such as micro grants and transcript waivers, draw up a new city funding formula that accounts for the language needs and the needs of migrant and refugee students, protect street vendors in Little Village, and targeting recent robberies by expanding the access to financing and microgrants, supporting commercial kitchens and worker-led co-ops that give vendors safe and warm places to work. Turn Lightfoot's lackluster Office of New Americans into an Office of Migrant Protection and Integration to support migrant families and develop a comprehensive city plan for asylum seekers and new arrivals in partnership with the city council and community groups. Build a permanent housing for all unhoused, including asylum seekers, by raising the real estate transfer tax on high-end home sales. Increase dedicated funding to immigrant protection and integration to support immigrants bused to Chicago from Texas and other border states. The funding will be far more than the $5 million in Lightfoot's $16.4 billion 2023 budget. We're going to make sure that all protective legal services are fully funded, Johnson said. No matter if you're a migrant, an immigrant, or an asylum seeker, you will have a safety and security and sanctuary in the city of Chicago. Johnson didn't say what his plan would cost, but he cited the tax the rich plan. He has already announced a bankroll $1 billion in new spending on public schools, transportation, housing, healthcare, and job creation. The billionaires and the big corporations, you're going to have to pay your fair share in Texas, said Johnson, a Chicago teachers union organizer who has received $970,000 in additional contributions over the last week from CTU, SEIU, Healthcare, SEIU Local 73, and the Illinois Federation of Teachers. During a televised forum last week on Fox 32, retiring Alderman Roderick Sawyer, 6, said another Mayor Challenger said he's spoken to several Woodland residents about the sheltered Lightfoot open up at the shuttered Wadsworth Elementary School at 6420 South University Avenue. It is not that they don't want to help the migrants. They just feel that they're being left out and they're not being helped. We want to be able to do both, Sawyer said. Lightfoot said the biggest challenges Chicago faces receiving 5,140 immigrants from the southern border is that those here illegally have to be able to work. The federal government has to create a pathway for them to be able to transition from the shelter system into gainful employment. We must get these folks work permits now, she said. I can put every single one of those able-bodied adults to work today if the federal government would give them the authorization to work. It's not right. It's not fair. And frankly, it's un-American that we invite these folks here and we let them live legally in our cities, but we don't allow them to work and take care of themselves and their family. So, yeah, I just want to go ahead and touch up on Brandon Johnson, like I say, his actual platform and what he feels. And like I said, we mentioned that. We had that in another Twitter space before, and we talked about it. And Brandon Johnson, you heard all of these plans, and you heard all of what he's going to do for all of these other people. Yet Brandon Johnson, it started off, the actual article started off about the black and it's enough for everybody and this and that or whatever. Not one time did Brandon Johnson mention, you know what? This is what I plan on doing for black people in Chicago. You know, I'm going to take this step and I'm going to create this opportunity for black people in Chicago. We're going to get access to these funds to help the black people in Chicago. We're going to go ahead and decrease crime and increase business opportunities and entrepreneurship by doing this for black people. Not one damn time did he sit here and say that. And like I said, we had that space before talking about this gentleman here. So I just wanted to bring that up because I know I wanted to cover him tonight as well too. And I feel everybody, and there's nothing wrong whatsoever because we had to talk about the North Carolina A&T. Like you said, that's not getting enough major push on the major media outlets. That's why I tweeted out. That's why I'm holding this space on it so we can go ahead and get it out there as much as possible. But we also, Brandon Johnson, and people thought Lori Lightfoot was creating a sanctuary city. This man, his whole plan is to create a sanctuary state, starting off using Chicago as the base. So he's sitting up here straight up telling you exactly what he's going to do. He's letting you know first and foremost what he's going to do. Then he was out there with 100 members of what he said his Latino group. What about 100 members of the black group? So he's already sitting up here and pretty much showing you. And black people wonder why nobody takes them serious politically. This is why. Why would you take a group of people serious politically who don't take themselves seriously? Why? Why would you? He's sitting up here talking about what he's going to do, how he's going to take this money, and how he's going to do this, and how he's going to do that. And he hasn't said one thing. He's talking about the political tension between black and Hispanics. Well, in that speech that he said, not one thing would soothe like any doubts black people had about being cut out of Chicago. Not one thing that he mentioned would make black people say, you know what? I feel better that Brandon Johnson said that yet and still, and that article was from a month or two ago, yet and still, they still elected this man. They still elected him. So Chicago still hasn't learned, but sometimes, like they said growing up, you got to learn the hard way. You know, sometimes people could tell you not to touch that hot stove, but you still touch it anyways until you get burned. And after that, you say, well, you know, I'm not going to touch it because, hell, that hurts. So our people, they're the type that have to touch that stove, and unfortunately, they touch it repeatedly over and over and over and over and over again. So, still haven't learned, still have not learned. You're gonna put this man in power, and this man is nothing. He's not gonna do a damn thing except what he said. He's gonna go ahead and he's gonna put a whole nother group of people that's not. He's talking about getting people rights to vote and this and that, and getting them tangibles and this and that. And people are not even residents, are not even citizens of the country. I mean, how does that even make sense? They're not even citizens of the country. And towards the end, Lori Lightfoot was saying, well, we invited these people. No, nobody invited these people. What are you talking about? The people showed up and they came. I don't fault anybody for wanting to get a better life for their family. But don't sit up here and say, well, you know, they were invited and we're sleeping them and that's un-American. No, the people were, nobody say, hey, y'all come on over here. I mean, stop with the nonsense. Straight up, nobody said that. Let me give a shout out real quick to DJ for the Cash App. DJ, appreciate that. Let's go ahead and get it to we're gonna get it to Mr. Engaging, and we're gonna get it to Trouble. Go ahead, Mr. Engaging.
Hey, just real quick, I just want to say, don't forget, a hard head make a soft ass too. That's another saying. So come get this bell whooping since you don't want to listen.
Yeah, Newstoter, you kind of took the words out of my mouth when I'm hearing about this Brandon Johnson layout for the immigrant spread plan that he got for them. Not one. The whole Democrat layer sandwich. These guys build it off the Negro Black American struggle, and and then they proceed on further to everybody else, like the rights is for them, and I find that very problematic. The other thing that I'm looking at is like, why are people not ready to sue this guy for like devaluing the votes and like a whole bunch of other things? Like, he's like eroding at the rights of Negro American people, the rights that we fought for, and like that don't sit well with me. And you said that the people of Chicago voted to gentrify themselves out, like.
Basically, they voted for this dumbass. So yeah, basically.
Yeah. So I am looking at my brothers and sisters like, what are y'all doing over there, Like, what y'all thinking like? Like, you're on code about Lori Lightfoot, She deserved that smoke, And then they go vote for the guy who's just like the male version of Lori Lightfoot. So like, I don't know, man. Like, it was like the distinction without a difference. So like, I am concerned about our people. We need to be. It shows that we need to be creating candidates that are in our interests. Not now, not today, like as soon as possible. Because it shows that since we don't have these guys, you have guys like Brandon Johnson in the midst of reparations. Keep in mind, with the midst of reparations going on, this jackass over here is talking about what he wants to do for the immigrants. Like, why he's not shooed? I'm sorry to go Middle Eastern style on these guys about this. Like, why is this guy allowed to walk in public? And not be ridiculed, and not be like called out, saying like, "Yo, like, dude, you couldn't get 100 black folks and equal people. You in goddamn Chicago." Like, I'm gonna mute it off of that. You in Chicago, like the mecca center of like black intelligence and stuff of that nature. Like, Chicago comes to mind, Atlanta comes to mind, Philadelphia comes to mind. Like, I find it very insulting and disrespectful. He's a young guy, right? He's a young bootlicker.
I think he's about 47, I believe. Yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah. Okay, he just keep on get the crease in his boots now. Okay, one of those types. Yeah, I'm gonna mute up off of that. I'm very upset. Thank you for putting the spotlight on this clown.
Oh yeah, like I said, and we talked about him before in the space a few weeks ago. After Lori Lightfoot got kicked out, and we was like, well, who's Brandon Johnson? And we that same article is published. It's on Newstoter. I just gave you the extended version or whatever, but yeah, yeah, we talked about him before, and when we actually heard this, and we like, wow, I simply can't believe what this dude is saying here. And it starts off, and the way it starts off, he's talking about this great disconnect between blacks and Hispanics, and nothing he says after that initial first couple sentences has anything whatsoever to do with black people. At least you could have kind of respected if he would somehow put black people back in it, but it was solely about immigrants and migrants and asylum seekers. Totally just use black people as a way in the first. Oh well, we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna do the old hokey pokey, and we're gonna put black people in here, and okay, well now really, we just put y'all in, and now let's talk about what we really want to talk about. Completely, I mean, man, just completely selling out. Trouble, go ahead and unmute your mic, sister. Go ahead.
Hey, so yeah, we did talk about him in one of your spaces, which is why I pretty much didn't touch on it this time, because he just seemed to be a whole clown. Unfortunately, we have to understand that a lot of our people still aren't ready to move away from that Democratic side, and at the same time, we don't have our own candidates that are running. When you look at a city like Chicago, you've had Rahm Emanuel, you've had all of these different people come into play within that city. And so you know that there's a lot of money being put behind certain candidates. The DNC runs, they're going to put, certain monies of their own behind their candidates. So I know earlier Professor was saying, well, or I think it was Professor who was like, well, is he one of us, or is he, one of them? And at this point, it doesn't really matter, because there's a lot of us. His last name dictates that he's pretty much one of us. We have our own set of bootlicks who are just like those other people. And that's what the Democratic Party is intent on putting within the offices around this country, in the governorship, whatever position of power that they can get a black person in. You can ever go believe that that person is going to be some bootlicking, candy licking clown. And so that's really what we're up against. And the DNC is going to put a whole lot of money behind what black person they want to represent the collective, which is not really representative of the collective. So we have our leaders that we select, and then there are the black leaders that they choose and put into place. And that's what we've been dealing with for a long time, is the black leaders that they've been choosing, which is those who are not for us. The Democratic Party has an agenda, which is to bring in these new Americans, and their whole platform right now is based on immigration. So they're extremely comfortable with running people who are not even speaking to black issues, because that is no longer where they're at, because their voting base is going to come from these migrants. We call them immigrants, but they want to call them migrants. They're going to come from the Hispanics and whoever else, temporarily, because Hispanics, and a large portion of them, like to vote Republican too. So I'm looking for that to bite them in the ass shortly. But for right now, on a state level at least, they get all of these other peoples to go behind them, and maybe they got a large amount of white folks that's voting, too, that's going to edge them on in. These people are not for us. So we're in a climate right now where the brother had said, well, in the midst of reparations, well, ding, 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 ding. White folks don't want us to get the reparations. These colored peoples from other nations don't want us to get the reparations. These immigrants, they want the money that, that they would use to give us our reparations. They want that money for themselves. So, you got a lot of bootlicks who are going to be running for these positions so they can, not do a damn thing for us. Because certain people just want to be able to have power. So we really are up against a lot, because what they do is they turn around and say, hey, well, we got black leadership. And meanwhile, those of us who's in the know are sitting back like, not really. We don't see black leadership. We see pussy boys up there, pussy girls up there. That ain't what we seeing. We seeing some selected shit. So I don't know. We really got to get in these trenches. We got to get in these trenches hard. We got to get our own people up there, which means we got to get on the ground and do some groundwork to try to get them elected, because the Democratic Party got powerhouses behind them. They got money that they're throwing. We're not willing to really, we do too much infight, to really get behind one candidate. We could find a good candidate in each area to run, but there's going to be a whole space somewhere where people are spawning something about that person not to like, so that we can't get that person elected. And then we end up with some kind of funky ass Brandon in Chicago, or some West Whitmore over in Michigan, or wherever the hell he's at. We got to stop getting candidates like that, and that just goes to show us, that it's do or die. It's do or die. So I don't know. There's that.
Absolutely. Thank you, Trouble. Guys up in the Jumbotron, like I say, don't forget to go ahead to the YouTube channel. Go ahead and subscribe to the YouTube channel. We're trying to build up the subscriber list. So please, if you're on YouTube, go ahead and subscribe to Newstoter. Also, if you can, support us on Cash App. Even if you got just $1 you like to donate it to the largest Black American media news curation platform today in America. That is Newstoter. Once again, the largest, biggest Black American-owned news media curation platform today. $Newstoter, $Newstoter. So we got us a couple hands up in here. So let's go ahead and get to Mr. Engaging. Let's get to Original. DJ, I see you with your hand up. Go ahead, Mr. Engaging.
Yeah. I wanted to touch upon I forgot about the land situation or the factory thing. I did want to touch upon that. I'm really starting to look at this eminent domain thing as an unconstitutional thing. And what I mean is that it infringes on I feel it infringes upon that life and pursuit of happiness type of situation, and also the property aspect. And what I'm more or less getting at is that they're not giving fair exchange or equal or more value for the land. They're giving below or subpar value for the land. And that's why I'm looking at it as more as an unconstitutional type of land grab. And I really think that there should be a policy or something that should be pushed to combat those type of things. So that was one of the things I did want to add on, that I was just making an observation to, because it's very upsetting that Bill Gates has how much farmland, but the average Negro farmer, we can't get the grants that's needed to sustain our farms.
Absolutely, Mr. Engaging. Absolutely. I know one of the comments I saw, I believe it was Chicago Cheetah, said that Brandon Johnson said that he's going to invest in the black communities. Well, I hope he does. He definitely needs to, because we need more investments into it. So definitely go ahead and do that. It doesn't seem like he's doing it at the level that he needs to. He seems to be hyping more about, like I said, it was a whole article about immigrants and what he's going to do in terms of this new coalition. So he needs to go ahead and do it, because let's be for real, I'm sure that a large part of his constituents are black people. So he needs to go ahead and do something for black people. And that article we just read, he didn't say anything about investing in black people. Everything, all of his investment was pretty much, for migrants and immigrants and asylum seekers. So that seemed to be his big thing that he was talking about. So I like to see him go ahead and do it. He should go ahead and do it. We got a new speaker up here, so I want to go ahead and get to him real quick. That's DJ L Beats. DJ L Beats, how you doing?
What's going on? How you doing, player?
Doing good, man. How about you?
I'm fine. So, really quickly, I just popped in. Everybody know I just kind of go through all the rooms, but I'm from Chicago. I've been living here my whole motherfucking life. Excuse the language. I'll be honest. It's Brandon Johnson. They stinks. I'm gonna tell you why. Because in truth, that's a white controlled brother. You know what I'm saying? The whites control that brother. And to be perfectly honest, it's just a funny thing. All the liberal cities got a black man at the helm or a black woman. LA got Sister Bass. I don't know all their policies. I know that the guy out there, the mayor of New York is black and the mayor of Atlanta is black. So it's funny. My cousin was saying, man, when they started letting black folks be the face, they left the condos open. So I don't really know what's going on, but I will say a lot of the establishment whites here, I know when they saw that election of Brand, they like, man, I'm getting the hell out of it, because he been pushing the defunded thing so hard, even though he been kind of, dabbling back on it. I fully expect him to defund the police. So, if you African American in the city of Chicago, I advise, if you hold your ground and stand your ground, I respect that. But if you want to get the fuck out of Dodge, I would, typically I would critique you and have some criticism, but I wouldn't blame you, man. Right now, in these cities, I've been living here my whole life. I've been around some of the evilest niggas in this town, and some of the most bourgeoisie people in this town. I made a name for myself in the city as well as my friends. But I will tell you this: I don't see this getting no better. Between the energies of the music, the kids having certain opportunities that aren't being given, between the social media stuff, and then just the climate of really the affordable housing thing. Because when the kids is coming back at 21, 22 years old, they can't even afford fucking rent. So you forced to the suburbs. So Chicago is in this weird space, man, and with businesses pulling jobs out of the area, and they have this stereotype of black men that has just even been further reinforced by some of the young brothers' actions. It's like it's no way in hell that community activists getting pulled out goddamn Honda at gunpoint. You know, it's just a fucked up thing. So, you know, it's gonna take a real coalition to make shit happen. But Chicago's so fucking slimy and grimy with people dealing with people and pushing their own agendas, man. I really don't see it. So, like I said, I've been here my whole life. I love it. I love the culture. I love the energies. But I fear that we're going to pull behind Detroit, and a lot of black folks are going to go to Detroit. They're from Chicago. I truly believe that in Milwaukee, because in Indianapolis as well, because I feel like there are cheaper cities that now have the same amenities, hip hop that made them cool, and you know, I think that a lot of blacks don't even go in those suburbia. I think you're gonna see the greatest exodus of African Americans from Chicago you've ever seen, and it's unfortunate, and it really, you know, I feel bad because we kind of played a part in it with the music thing, and we thought it was all sunshine and Hallmark cars with, you know, a lot of the black kids was getting a lot of these deals, but we was getting these deals and making this money to push a narrative, and the narrative ended up just being more exacerbation on the problem. And now, shit, man, I remember, man, my grandma was talking about, man, I remember back in the day, a black man being there before Harold Washington, they didn't even consider that to be a reality. You know what I'm saying? Now you got two for two, and you know how these core racist white folks look at Lori. I mean, man, I just really forecast people just being obliterated out these traditionally black neighborhoods like Bronzeville, Chatham, you know, these places where, you know, you have middle class African Americans and they being priced out. Like right now, the average 21, 22-year-old can't afford no $2,000 in rent unless they're doing something negative, man. You know, I'm not saying it's people not out here grinding, but they have not really invested in the job market. Then now with this ChatGPT thing rolling around, you know, it's just really, we in the dilemma of the age, brother. So I'm gonna land my plane. I would love to have a conversation with y'all. I really don't like to necessarily be in rooms where we all can't talk. I know I gotta be supportive, but this is like a big problem. And I'm seeing the same thing in New York. A lot of those guys, that, you know, they end up leaving early on back then. But I just don't see young people right now, even though wages are rising in certain places. I can't, man, I'm not seeing it, man. I am not seeing young African Americans that are not graduating high school, you know, in certain spaces and not getting these skills, being able to take care of families and themselves and be stable. And I mean, we don't have reserves, you know, and that's why it's sad. And, you know, even with the HBCU thing, like we had a big movement for that. Kids going down there, and they living in a goddamn hotel room. So it's like when we push, it's just like it's fucked up because my generation, I'm 32 years old. We are inheriting all the fuck ups and the problems from the bad policies of the 90s and the 80s and all of this shit. And it's like we got to eat this shit sandwich. And a lot of young blacks is just, they going back home with their parents, they getting high, it's a lot of depression, social media ain't made shit no better. So, you know, it's sad, man, because our people work so hard in Chicago and in other cities, coming up out this South, leaving their land out of terrorism to go to these northern cities, and for this shit to, you know, maybe like 50, 60 years down the line, shit, the average young black man can't even get no job. He 11 years old, stealing cars. Then you get him in that system, his life was over before he started. So it's a tragic situation. You know, I will be remiss if I didn't say that, you know, I don't see this situation lasting in this condition another 2-3 years. You got niggas in the black community that's super street niggas, super militant, begging for Donald Trump because they felt under his regime they life was better. They don't even know what the fuck is going on. You know what I'm saying? So right now, we just in a crazy dilemma where the shorties feel like Cardi B is more relevant to them than Dr. King. You know what I'm saying? So this shit is it's just weird right now. And shit, you know, we just, man, we the ecstasy babies, the permethazine, the codeine, and the Lil Wayne babies. We grew up on all that shit and the pornography and all that, and now we grown up and niggas is just fried. And you know that's what it is. So I appreciate you, brother, for letting me speak. I don't have no answers. I don't want to be the fear monger, but we gotta have some comprehensive skills that's applied to our community so we can do something, man. Because young black men, and I see we have this shit. I'm not generalizing our people. I know we're great people, but just feeling like Pro Tools and a mixtape is your key out of this condition, and being a fucking model on OnlyFans is the key for you to be successful, and that's what motherfuckers is looking at. This shit is spooky, bro. You want Nightmare on Elm Street, here you go. And then we 2 years out from a national election, less than like 18 months. We don't know how this shit gonna go. Man, bro, they couldn't wrote a better script than this, but we gonna make it. We gonna survive. But in Chicago, man, this is definitely hard. So, man, I appreciate y'all listening.
All right, thank you, brother, for giving us that insight into Chicago as well, too. We definitely appreciate that. I know it's got to be because I'm in Florida, so I can understand it. I can understand how resources get diverted from certain communities and go to other communities to help people as well too. So I can definitely understand what you're saying. So I appreciate you coming in and giving us that perspective of somebody up there in Chicago as well too. And people in the comments, they're talking about it as well too. So thank you, brother, for coming in and just sharing that with us real quick. I definitely greatly appreciate that. Real quick, let me give a shout out to Mr. Michael. Michael, thank you for your contribution on Cash App. It's greatly appreciated. Thank you, brother. Let's go ahead and we're going to get to Original and we're going to get to OG. DJ, I see you got your hand up as well, too. Go ahead, Original, and DJ, hold it down for me for 1 second.
Go ahead. All right. Someone brought up Atlanta as far as being a black city. I hate to inform you, but that is a lie. Now, I will say this. Atlanta is still a majority black city. But when you look at the consciousness, there is no black consciousness from the majority of it, especially the people who are in elected position in Atlanta. Because, see, because I had cited this before. Now, the current mayor, he, on his platform, under diversity and inclusion, basically that was just a gay platform where he talked about everything that he wanted to do for the, basically the gay white community. Talked about promoting tourism and having conferences for jobs and this, that, and whatever. But he's basically the same thing as Brandon Johnson in Chicago. Didn't offer black people anything. Then the tramp that came before him, Keisha Bottoms, hell, she filed paperwork in a court of law saying that the illegal aliens have the right to be here. Then the Magilla Gorilla looking Kasim Reed before the Keisha Bottoms, he passed, him and the entire city council at that time passed resolution supporting the illegal aliens. They've never done a damn thing for black folk. Because Kasim Reed, when he was running, he said when he ran initially, he said that he would come on this station and talk to the black community once a month. So what happened, he came on for about 2 or 3 months, and then he stopped. So what happened is, I'm just going to be upfront, it was me. So I started calling into this show, asking the host, is the mayor going to come back on? She said, well, no one from his office called, so I started calling in. I did this for about 6, and I would ask her if anyone from the mayor's office or staff contacted her about him coming on to talk to black folks. And she said no. But see, it was when I flipped the script and it forced his ass to come on. So I started saying, did anyone from the mayor's office of staff contact you about him coming on? Or did you or anyone from your staff contact the mayor's office or anyone on his staff about coming on to this platform? And that's when his thing and he was pissed off because see, these people, trust me, they hate black folks. And when you can force them to do something, oh, they really get indignant. They really get indignant because see, when he ran again after Keisha Bottom, she wasn't going to win when she decided not to run, and when he lost, and I gave whoever was sending me text messages about voting for him, and I said some extremely pejorative things about him in this text message. So the person said, well, he didn't see it. I said, well, you know what? As long as you saw it and you know what my feelings are, that's good enough for me. And I know that pissed them off, you know. But yeah, and even in Chicago, let's not forget, there's I think they've kind of taken it somewhat off. It's from the newspaper is called the Crusader, and it's and the title of the article is "Fought for Their Silence," and it was like all these city council people or aldermen, whatever they call them, they all took money from the small hat, Rahm Emanuel, to try to cover up what happened with Laquan McDonald, and then they got busted. But the issue, see, part of I think our main issue is that we have got to begin to. It's just like when DJ talked about getting this printer. We have got to begin to physically go out in our communities across this country and start giving our people information, letting them know exactly what's going on and what these people have done to us, so we can get some kind of resolution on this. Because all these people took all this money, and I think that when they had the election, it was maybe one new person ran against one of these fools, but all the rest of them got back in the office to continue the destruction of black civilization in Chicago. So that's what these people are doing. I don't care if they look like us. I don't care who they are. What they do is they are not going to do anything. Just like Karma Sutra Kamala said, that she would not do anything that would only benefit black folks. And if black folks didn't wake up with that and then you see all these people who are in the sororities and fraternities, they go out here and they vote for these people. And again, here in Georgia, Big Swole, when she ran both times, she never once said anything that she would do for black folks. As I said before, some of the so-called Divine Nine had a candidate for her when she initially ran, and the bitch didn't show up. She claimed she had to go up north to get some money. But the white girl that she was running against showed up to the candidate forum and had a dialogue with black folks. But black folks still voted for this thing. I mean, this is insane, and this is what's going on across this country. You have black folks. Some of them supposed to be so educated to whereby you think they know everything, but they are dumb as hell. They're dumb. But see, Big Swole, she invited the gay white community when she initially ran into her campaign headquarters and bragged to them about what she had done for them and what she would do if she was elected. Never said, I know quite a number of you may have seen this video where she was being interviewed by someone, and she said the reason she couldn't say the reason that black candidates, specifically her, couldn't say what they would do specifically for black people, saying that because we're only 13% of the population. Well, she had on there what she was going to do for illegal aliens. And let's see, and last time I checked, the gay population is only about 5, no more than 7%, but she has no problem. None of them. They don't have an issue stating what they would do for these other demographics. It's only us that they will stand up and boldly say, I'm not going to do a damn thing for you. Then what you going to do about it? Then they get all these other dysfunctional non-black groups like Black Voters Matter and Working Family Project or something like that. And they want to send black people text messages during these election cycles wanting us to come out and vote for their candidates and their party. No. I mean, see, I think we're going to have to better organize and be able to hit the ground and letting these people know that voting for, I don't care if it's Democrat or Republican, if they can't state to you what they're going to do for you, then damn it, let it go. Just let it go. Just walk away and let it go. Because if they can stand up here and say what they're going to do for any other group, but not for us, then I just let it go. When Raphael ran for senator, y'all saw everybody was screaming and squirming, wondering if he was going to get back into that seat. I can proudly say I didn't waste my time going over there to vote. I didn't even waste my time requesting an absentee ballot so I could mail it in, and I think they're supposed to have a barcode where you can even mail it in for free. I didn't waste I'm like, why would I vote for a piece of shit, Raphael Warnock, that couldn't even say what he was going to do for black folks? But he didn't have a problem saying what he would do for illegal aliens who can't vote him into office, gay white folks. They don't have a problem doing that. It's us. They take and eat it that they would not do a damn thing for us. And so I think we are going to, the onus is on us. We are going to have to show these people that no, this is not going to continue. But like I said, Atlanta, a lot of I won't say all because I really don't mill around the city like that anymore. But a lot of these black folks in Atlanta, they are brain dead. You listen to the talk show hosts here, they're nothing but Democratic shit. They're nothing but Democratic or Republican shields. But there is one guy, he's on the FM station. He's a Republican, but he ain't gonna look out for black folks. No, none of them will. They're only Democratic and Republican shields, and they're gonna follow whatever template they're given to follow. And I'll land with that.
All right, original. Thank you. Let me go ahead to OG. OG, go ahead and unmute your mic.
I appreciate it, guys. I don't have much really. I just kind of want to remind everybody that we're in an individualistic society. I mean, we're on individualism now, and and that could be fine. Excuse me. That could be fine, except that along the way to get to this individualistic type of mindset is that if a lot more people have gotten educated along the way. It's not enough to be included in everything that's talked about or everything that's done. And the onus is us. The onus is on us to do for ourselves. I mean, in certain ways, you can't fault these black candidates for playing the name game. You can't fault them for trying to speak the language, trying to get up there to get elected. Okay, and then once elected, they aren't able to do much. But honestly, we knew that in the first place. Okay, the whiffs and the whiff supporters, they set it up that way that we can vote for our favorite candidate and still lose out, or we can not vote at all and we're gonna lose out, or we can vote for an opposition candidate Yet again, we still gonna lose out. Set up that way. I mean, these are obvious things. I mean, damn, we don't have to wait on everything to damn fall apart to just know, they're not for us. I mean, I kind of want us to, maybe even quit crying about that, because it's time to we do something, and it doesn't have to be radical, but it needs to be something done that's changed the scape, and the scope. Okay. I mean, I've got things in mind. I'm sure a lot of other people do too. But we kind of have to sort of get in there and experiment on it, to ourselves. We sort of have to get in there and be the individual, to kind of go over a few things on our own, and then introduce it to the public or introduce it to other allies. But for right now, we're cornered, because it was set up for a damn if we do, damn if we don't. I mean, it's simple as that. And I don't understand why we can't really recognize that as a collective. I mean, why in the hell would I want to support Donald Trump when I know he's uneducated? And if he's uneducated, why would I trust what he's saying when he's saying stuff that just to appease people? Why would I trust that? I don't understand that. I don't understand him. Everybody thinking he's a businessman, and he can steamroll his way, or he can what do you call it? Connive his way into doing dirty deals or not. And if the dirty deal don't work, oh well. But if the dirty deal do work, oh, we got over. What the fuck is that? This nigga dumb. And you gonna expect to believe shit that he says? Why? I don't understand that shit. That is dumb. Because I know he said shit that I don't know who else caught on to it, but I sure as hell caught on to it. All this shit about him doing things underhanded because it's a reverse psychology. That's some bullshit. Ain't no reverse psychology shit. This motherfucker can't even reverse his own psychology. So how you gonna use reverse psychology on somebody else? At least somebody else who's competent. That don't make no damn sense to me. And against the backdrop of the whole history of the country and the whole history of oppression and all, against the backdrop of all of that, 400-something years and all, against the backdrop of that, fucking 60 years ain't shit. So we worry about 60 years of the fucking Democrats bullshitting around. Well, goddamn it. Who bullshitted around for the other fucking 340-something years? Man, hey, like I said, I got ideas. I didn't intend to come on a rant, but at some point it's a little bit of common sense. But we're in an individualistic society, so there it is. You gotta figure it out as an individual, and then be brave enough to bring it to the table, I guess, or what have you. I'm not even sure I said everything I wanted to say, but I'm going to land because I don't like to rant on, rave on. I don't like doing that shit. I want to say some simple shit and get the fuck on. And maybe you can remember it. Thank you, guys.
All right. Appreciate that, OG. I appreciate that. We're going to get ready to wrap this space up real quick. Professor, you wanted to say something?
Yeah, I just want to say, OG, I'm down with that shit, man. Thank you for talking with us about that shit. And that was some great shit. Thank you.
I guess so.
Can I say one thing?
Go ahead.
One thing I know for sure, all these damn immigrants would be here if Trump was in that seat. That's one thing he did do.
Yes,
The
ma'am.
immigrants already started before Trump ever even ran for president.
That's not true. It wasn't here like that.
No, they was here. Trust me, baby. They was here. They definitely were here.
They've been here a long time. He was trying. Trump was sending a lot of them back, but you know they were here. You know let's be for real. They've been bringing immigrants over here for a long time, but he was one of the ones that was putting a hold on some of it. And you're not going to totally stop immigration in the United States of America. What people are complaining about is the illegal immigration. They want to curb the legal immigration as well too, but the illegal immigration, they really want to go ahead and put a major halt to that if possible. And Trump was doing some stuff on that. He was doing some things, and that ruffled a lot of people's feathers. I'm not a Trump fan at all. I'm just say that right there. I'm not a Trump fan, but he was doing some things in terms of immigration. DJ, go ahead. You there, DJ?
Yeah, my bad. Check it out.
Yeah, it sounds like he's in the shits.
Yeah, you already know Twitter shit him, but check it out real quick.
Yeah, good Thursday afternoon. I'm Anthony Fonsack.
And I'm Natalie Bumke, and we start with Move-In Day for local migrants. It's happening right now at an old Chicago public school building.
Let's get straight to Nate Rogers, who is live for us on the south side this afternoon. Nate?
Yeah, guys, that's right. In fact, Chicago police, as you can see right behind me, they've been here monitoring the scene after a small group of protesters tried to block migrants from moving in. Earlier today, migrants apparently from Venezuela will be temporarily housed here at the former Wadsworth Elementary School. So far, we've seen at least 3 busloads of people carrying bikes, laundry baskets, and duffel bags into the building since this morning. Now, this comes as more than 5,000 immigrants have been bused to Chicago since last year. Over the last several weeks, Woodlawn residents have expressed concerns about the move. 20th Ward Alderman Jeanette Taylor saying, although we're a sanctuary city, the neighborhood is already grappling with high crime, gentrification, and significant homelessness. Taylor, she's been blindsided by the mayor's office on specific plans, and residents in this ward have many, many questions. How many migrants is it at Wadsworth? They moved in this morning?
You would have to ask the mayor and the commissioner at DFSS, because I haven't gotten any of that information. The 5th floor, Mayor Lori Lightfoot and her team are coordinating with me. I've had a couple of meetings with them where she wasn't at the meeting. It was our commissioner, and nobody really gives us answers. So we've had 3 community meetings that I've had to push them on, and in those meetings, we don't get the answers. So we don't know what their day looks like. We don't know what's the safety plan. We don't know if they don't come back, what happened. None of that has been told to myself nor the community. So you can see how frustrating this is.
And just within the last 10 minutes, we received word from a spokesperson from the mayor's office who tells us 100 men and women will be temporarily housed here at the former Wadsworth Elementary School. He told us these individuals are actually coming from other shelters because of capacity levels. The city spokesperson also telling us that this location will, in addition, house those in Chicago that are experiencing homelessness as well. Alderwoman Jeanette Taylor says that she has received calls from local church leaders and community organizers who want to help out as well. In Woodlawn, I'm Nate Rogers, Fox 3.
So just to reiterate what he said at the end right there, and I got you on that with the two-sided future reference. But the people of Woodlawn was definitely protesting against Lori Lightfoot to keep them immigrants out of the community. They didn't want them there, and this is a black community for the most part, you know what I mean? So at the end of the day, they also taking these old homeless shelters around the country or in democratic cities that were, like an old hotel might have got converted into a homeless shelter. They kicking the local, residents out that are born and raised here, mainly black folks, and moving in the migrants. So you kicking us out to move these people up here. But go ahead, Tom.
Okay. I guess on that note, y'all, we're going to go ahead and close the space out for the night. We will be back tomorrow night at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So, guys, make sure you go ahead and check us out. Click the notifications so you can see when it comes out as well. Click the notifications so you can know when we're putting out that content on Twitter. You can stay updated with some of the top coverage of black culture, black life, black news, black lifestyle, you name it. So definitely thank everybody for coming out, supporting the space as usual. Thank you to all the speakers, the listeners. Thank you to everybody that came up in here. We definitely appreciate it. Guys, make sure you go ahead and subscribe to that YouTube channel as well, too. I'm going to be telling you that all the time. Go ahead and subscribe to that YouTube channel. If you got a YouTube account, which I know mostly everybody on there has, if you got one and you hadn't subscribed to Newstoter, make sure you go ahead and subscribe to Newstoter. I'm tweeting that out daily, so make sure you subscribe to it. Also, if you can, think about making a donation. It could be $1. If you got $1 that you want to donate this month to Newstoter, we would definitely greatly appreciate it. That is $Newstoter, $Newstoter on Cash App. If you don't have a Cash App, with Venmo and PayPal, we tweet that out daily as well, too. So even if you got just $1, go ahead and please think about supporting us as we try to go ahead and push these stories out there that mainstream America is not covering. They don't want to cover. They don't want to talk about. They refuse to speak about it. So we try to go ahead and from our sources, our Black-owned sources, we try to go ahead and we put the content out there. The platform is growing, but we're not there to the point where we have the mass and the reach that we like. So that's why we ask everybody to go ahead and subscribe to the YouTube channel. Also, we ask people if you can make a donation, even if it's just $1 a month that you have, please think about making a donation to a Black-owned, a Black American-owned business, a Black-owned, a Black American business that supports other Black businesses as well, too. Black women, Black men, Black news, Black curators, Black bloggers. I mean, we're supporting it. So please think about that if you can. Until then, tomorrow, guys, we will see you. Everybody have a good night. Be safe. And thank you once again for hanging out with us. So appreciate everybody that's in the space.
Peace.
Peace.